Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2, where our cold reptile cunning has entrapped the Bretonnians once again. I don't even know what this guy's doing. Like, this army could not take Alhaik. It has 14 units behind a solid wall, but the fact that he has run over here in march mode means that we could just run over there and eliminate him because his army can't retreat. That said, we do need to think about this a little bit. Like I said, he poses no threat to Alhaik, but it's possible he could just be going to reinforce Zandri, which we don't particularly want him to do, especially given that Thagan's Errantry has come to the same conclusion I did and built up an enhanced garrison there. I'm just wondering, like, oh hey, look, our dwarven friend is actually going to resettle Martak. That's nice. I'm wondering if we could maybe just let him go because he's not a threat to us over here, and instead go straight to Kofur and remove another settlement from them. Kofur is the last place that he has recruitment buildings. So if we take out Kofur, he can't build up that army anymore. The fact that he built the increased garrison size building in Zandri means that we know it doesn't have a recruitment building because it's got the dock and the wall. So if we took out Kofur, he'd be stuck on this army with no ability to build reinforcements. We could have this army deal with this guy, Mogan the Devoted, and then come north and just stomp him out at Zandri. Bel Aliad has an improved garrison but no walls. I think it would still hold up just fine against this army. The Pools of Despair are functionally invulnerable to that. Yeah, if we remove their ability to recruit, I think that's got to be our priority. Removing their ability to recruit is very, very powerful. We will wipe them out soon enough. We're just going to go back into ambush mode. Again, this is just about the AI moving around the map as though we weren't here. Has worked out very well for us so far. We don't have a ton of money to work with. We're positive on gold per turn, but only a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out, like, what is the appropriate move here?
I am a lord of Bretonia. Never.
We definitely want to try to get into a position where we can hit Que-Caudill next turn. I think if we do a normal move, we won't be able to reach it. But we also don't want to put ourselves in a position where... I was about to say we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're going to have to deal with a field battle against these guys. But actually, maybe that would be just fine. Partly I'm thinking, like, we don't have a lot of units on the ground. We have our lord, the Saurus Oldblood, who's, he's a great fighter, no doubt. One unit of spear infantry, one unit of cavalry that are good against cavalry. I'm just worried that the ground could be a little rough for us with all these dudes charging around. Now, let's go aggressive. If he wants to fight us, we'll fight him. I am choosing to believe in the power of the Blessed Stegadon. I think it's very large and terrifying. If I'm not mistaken, this is a pretty scary opponent. If he pushes forward to Que-Caudill and takes it, we will be able to crush him there immediately afterward. It is worth noting that when a settlement gets conquered, its main settlement building gets devolved by one level. So if he takes Que-Caudill and we take it back, it will undo all of the work that we've put into it, which sucks, but is not, at this point, avoidable. There's a whole different way we could have played this that would have made that less of an attractive target, but we're talking about decisions that we made a long time ago that would have to be changed. Who is this, Uldomorin? Oh, is this our, yeah, this is our scout. Well, he's unlikely to ever be integrated into an army. So I guess we'll take map buffs. Obviously, boosting income in the local region, not super relevant. He does reduce income in enemy regions, but part of the high difficulty level is that enemies get a certain amount of free money per turn. And basically, like, lowering their income slightly in one region is not going to meaningfully affect their income. So, let's take points in Assassinate. Let's make him good at killing enemy agents in the field. And then we're just continuing to move up. My goal here is to get around into the mouth of this river, because there are a couple of nations down here, including the Empire, who probably have an awful lot of trade goods that they would love to give us. And we get to work on the sequence of marching. Okay, where are we at on that? Where are we at on that slan? Are we 1 or 2 turns away now? 1. Okay. I believe it is the case that when you swap the lord of an army, when you kick out one lord and bring in another lord, the new lord comes in with 0 movement. So we do want to recruit that slan next turn, but we'll have to do it after we do whatever we're going to use this army for. And I think with that, we're ready to move on to the next turn. I believe our double move right still has like 5-ish turns of cooldown left. An awful lot of situations where that right would be pretty good. I'm pleased to see that it seems like I was right, that it's very, very useful and powerful. But man, they put it on a long cooldown, didn't they? So, Ambusher here. Tic-Tac-Toe has gained a trait by spending multiple turns in ambush stance. He does, you know, he has a certain way that he likes to fight. I'm not really sure how the ambushes work, given that a quarter of that army is giant flying dinosaurs. Actually, more than a quarter. What, like 8 units in that army are on pterodons. Maybe we have some kind of, like, adaptive camo, like the plane from Stealth? Or, you know what it is? Nobody in video games ever looks up. If you've ever played a stealth game, like Dishonored or something, you know this. Video game characters never, ever look up. You could be right on top of somebody, being as loud as hell, but as long as you're above their current line of sight, you are perfectly safe. So Bordelot is going to war with Que-Caudill. That's Que-Caudill is like a dwarf nation that's in these mountains that are just sort of like over here. Why would you fight dwarves in the mountains? It seems like just a terrible way to spend your time. People who know the game and know all the banners for the major factions and stuff are pointing out that we're seeing major factions collapse already, which I'm actually kind of pleased about. It used to be the case prior to this latest update that major factions, basically factions that a player could play, got a big boost in auto-resolve so that they would tend to stick around. Ooh, the border princes were just destroyed. That's a little worrying. I wonder what's happening over there. And I get what they're going for there. They want the legendary lords who are part of the storyline to be present in the story of your game. But it did have a tendency to make the map break down kind of the same way from game to game. So I'm glad to see they've removed that. Okay. Interesting. I don't know if I agree that we have this much power here. This is another situation where I'm tempted to take the auto-resolve because I think it might do more damage to the enemy army than I will. Yeah, sure. Yeah, wow, that really messed them up. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure that we have the movement necessary to get over there, so they are done for. See that he realized that he wasn't going to be able to take Alhaig, and he went into encampment mode to recruit some new units, so now we're just going to remove his recruitment building and make that impossible. I think what we might have seen there is that I don't think they had vision of Alhaig after they lost it, but, like, they lost Alhaig, and they knew what it looked like when they lost it, and then after they lost vision of it, I built that in enhanced garrison building, and I guess they were planning on attacking it with just the base garrison, although I don't think that army could have taken the walled city either way. The mystical Slan mage priests have devised a new ritual to increase the effectiveness of the blades wielded by your Saurus warriors on the battlefield. However, such advances always come at a price. The ritual will siphon much-needed power from the geomantic web, potentially putting the great plan under threat. Oh no! So, winds of magic power reserve down, but weapon strength up for all armies for 10 turns. I guess that choice that was giving us vampiric corruption must have run out. Now we have to get a new dilemma here. Well, I do love weapon strength plus 10%. A fair number of our units are ranged, though. And this doesn't affect ranged units. This is weapon strength is melee weapons. And we actually do have one wizard already functional and another wizard that we're planning to recruit this turn. I'm still going to take it. It's not that big of a deal. The downside on that one is pretty minor. Okay, so Kofor has
Dishonor me.
a pretty large army, but they're not great units. It does seem like he recruited a lot of stuff in this last turn, though, doesn't it? Wasn't the bar for this army, like, down here? We'll deal with them in a second. Let's get this done first. So the city has no garrison because they just took it over, and their units are a little messed up and also not very numerous. So let's go ahead and reclaim Que-Caudill. Okay, very, very easy win. We probably could just auto-resolve that. In fact, we definitely could just auto-resolve that, but we're going to do it manually because I want to see our cool new dinosaur in action. This is an unusually long black screen. Okay, there we go. Everything's fine, it turns out. So they still have 2 units of mounted archers and 2 units of normal archers, and they have their field trebuchet. Their trebuchet, I can't imagine, is going to get a lot accomplished against an army that's mostly flying and also has a unit of cavalry. I don't know if this dinosaur is particularly fast. And I assume that trebuchets are mostly anti-infantry. There are certain types of artillery that are specifically designed to be used against big monster-type units. Trebuchet, I can't imagine being one of those. I don't think we're going to get too fancy with our formation here. Just kind of spread out and get ready. Let's have a look at our cool dinosaur before the battle starts. Look at that. What a good boy. Who's a good boy? Alright, we're gonna do some terrible things here today. This cavalry unit has Vanguard deployment. That's interesting. I don't think we want to Vanguard deploy them this battle, but you can see that like there are areas on the map that are outside of the no Vanguard deploy area, but still kind of behind the enemy. Sneaking cavalry units like back here and then having them hit enemy artillery early in the battle can be a very powerful strategy. Not one that we have to rely on, obviously. Okay, so where is that trebuchet? I want to have a look at it. Unit card. Okay, so largely armor piercing. Of course, the projectile explodes. If we want to keep our Saurus warriors alive, we probably ought to deal with this thing fairly quickly. And then, of course, we have to deal with their archers pretty quickly. How fast are the horse archers? 92 speed. That's actually pretty impressive. That said, I think we probably have it under control. Send a couple units to do that. Actually, I'm going to just match them 1-to-1. We have so many flyers, I think we can afford to put 1 Fire Leech Bola on each enemy unit that I'm worried about. And then actually still have a couple left over. Yeah. Alright, and we're going to do a little bit of micro here. I don't know that we necessarily need to go rocks in on the artillery crew, but I'd really love to get this artillery crew situation dealt with quickly. Okay. How fast is this big dinosaur? This big dinosaur has 50 speed. Alright, like I thought, not super fast. I might let the rest of the ground troops just hang out back here. I think that's possible. And then we probably just want to be dropping rocks, right? Let's grab hold of another unit and do some manual dropping. This dinosaur does not rampage. It's going to be a problem with a lot of our like big cool units, the rampaging. Look at them, they're like actually employing tactics to dodge the rocks. There we go. That's where it is. You guys. I'll say this, they're making me have to like work a little bit for it. Them being just faster than me is a real problem. Most units of mounted archers are pretty small in number. These guys actually have quite a few figures in their mounted archery unit. But we can fire while moving. They can fire while moving. Aha! Ah, they turned. I was gonna say the trees slow them down a little bit. They slow them down a little bit more than they slow us down. Alright, let's talk about these cavalry. So, mounted yeoman cavalry. These guys are not professional knights, and they probably do not have the skill necessary to defeat my knights in straight combat, even if they were at full health, which obviously they are not. You know what I would love to do, actually, is if we could get this Saurus Oldblood out of this fight, that would be great, because I would love to have him come over and deal with these guys. Here, let's have some rock drops occur over here. I want to thin out the melee troops on the ground here. And I'm trusting the dinosaur will just, you know, handle it. Oh, see, this is... Okay, so here's a danger. Here's a thing you have to be wary of when you're controlling individual cavalry characters like this. You can see this guy executed one of those big charges, and he threw a couple of my units way out, which is a thing that's cool to do. But, because he's a single character, he rode into the center of my unit. He doesn't get that wave effect that you get from several horses charging at once. Now he's completely surrounded by spear units, and he's going to have a really hard time getting out of there. He is probably dead. He probably killed himself with that charge. So be wary of that when you're using your own cavalry characters. Try not to charge into situations like this. And the reason I pulled our Saurus Oldblood out was I was going to have him go munch on those infantry, but it looks like that's maybe not necessary anymore. Whatever. Go chase him down. We'll have the big dinosaur head over this... Oh, that's not... I did not select the big dinosaur. I'll have the big dinosaur head over this way to deal with these guys. Oh, you already dropped your rocks. You are one of the few units that has already used the rocks. Trying desperately to get any drops at all on these guys. And we're winning the fight. They are getting some damage in. We are experiencing a little bit of our own medicine here, with the enemies running away from us too fast for us to catch while they shoot at us. Okay, there we go. Only their lord is still fighting. Nope, never mind, he gave up. And yeah, you can see he's getting just absolutely crushed. Definitely did some friendly fire damage there. Awful lot of explosive leeches being thrown off of the flying units. 15 of my units are dead. They killed 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we only killed 3 of our own. That's not so bad. Alright, but we've destroyed the leading army of the Knights of the Flame. We know that they have another, like, 3-quarter stack in their capital. We don't have any idea what they'll do with it. If they ride forward with Tiktaq'to in the position that he is in, he can just go down there and take the city from them. So probably that would not be too bright. But basically, where I'm going with this is, I think we're close to being done with this ridiculous Bretonnian treachery nonsense. So we should talk about the non-aggression pact with the Knights of Arrigo. The way a non-aggression pact works is, now that we've signed a non-aggression pact with them, if either one of us declares war on the other, it will damage our diplomatic standing with the rest of the world. Everyone will remember that that person is untrustworthy. Definitely reoccupy. Over time, that goes away. It will wear off eventually. We gotta reset our commandment. May as well spend this guy's 1 point, even though he's going to be replaced in a moment. The way you avoid taking that diplomatic hit is you have to break the non-aggression pact, which is an option you have in the diplomacy menu, and then you have to not actually attack for 10 turns afterward. So we're getting close to the point where we'll want to do that with the Knights of Arrigo, because obviously, if we're taking the coast of Araby, we're going to want Pyrrhus, and also I don't trust them in the long term. But not a concern for this moment, but something we have to be thinking about. Okay, let's fire off our Rite of Awakening. A Slan Mage Priest will be available to be recruited. Alright, awaken one of the Fat Frog Wizards. Lord Croak... yes, we read this text already. So 1,000 gold for us. Now we must move any character to the region the Golden Tower, which is, okay, quite far away. Unfortunately, it appears that the Lord Croak was roused from his slumber far too early. Not enough time had passed since his previous awakening, so he remains in a semi-dream state. This has caused some confusion, both for Croak and for his attendants, although he is able to give a rough indication as to his whereabouts. Pinpointing his exact location will require deeper investigation by his loyal attendants. Okay, the Golden Tower is far away. That was move any character, not move an army, so we'll just get a hero and throw him in that direction. How are we on? We're topped off on hero capacity for right now, right? Yes. That is definitely fixable, though. So let us go into this army and replace Lord with Yarick the Slan Mage Priest, who has unusual armor and melee defense. Not the greatest stats for him to have, being a wizard and everything. Alright, we got ourselves a Frog Lord. Let's have a look at his level up tree, actually. What is his deal? So he's a spellcaster. He started with access to the spells Faw's Protection, which is a pretty significant protective buff for a melee unit. Wind Blast, which causes moderate magical damage. They always describe these as an expanding tier-shaped attack, but I like to think of them as sort of like a dragon breath, right? So like a cone of destruction. Weak versus armor, but this one knocks people around a fair amount. Soul Quench, which is a powerful explosion. Strong versus multiple combatants, effective at long range. Not very expensive. Has quite a long cooldown, though. And Tempest. Tempest does a ton of magic damage and is super powerful, but it only affects flying units, so not totally ideal. But as we upgrade his spell tree, we're going to get access to a map-wide debuff that slows speed and lowers melee defense for enemy flying units every time we cast for 25 seconds. That's a pretty serious debuff. Some upgrades to our spells, and eventually, what's the good stuff? Eventually we'll get Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning is a good spell, and I like the fact that this only has 1 point, and it gives you all of the benefits, like we master Chain Lightning with a single point. Birona's Time Warp, dramatically increasing speed and melee attack for our units. That's pretty cool. Shield of Sapphire buff, 9 seconds of 11% damage resistance for all of our units when we cast. That's pretty good. A similar leadership debuff for enemy undead. It's a little specific, but probably it will end up being useful. Okay, so that's alright. He's an alright spellcaster. Focus of Mysteries. Gives you the bound spell Banishment. So a bound spell costs no winds to use. You can see in the place where the wind cost would be, it instead says it has 2 charges. A huge randomly moving area of effect that causes magical damage and just messes people up real bad. Okay, there's some unusual spells going on here. Alright, I'm eager to see this guy in combat. Alright, let's do the other thing. This is a battle we are definitely going to have to play out manually, because the AI is terrible at auto-resolve on sieges. Any battle with a wall, you pretty much have to do manually. So Daniel Alvon's army is completely worthless, and the settlement garrison is only slightly better. I think we got this under control. It is a lot of Bretonnians, but that just means there's a lot of places for our rocks to fall. So once we take this settlement, which we will do, Thagan's errantry is effectively out of the game. The only option they'll have left for trying to get anything done is demolishing the expanded garrison building at Xandri, and then replacing it with a recruitment structure of some kind, so that they can try to get that remaining half stack up to a full stack. But if they do that, it's just going to make it even easier for our frog army to move up and... I'm fine with 21 wins. It's going to make it even easier for our frog army to move up and take it back. So notice the 20-point reduction was to the power reserve, not to our current wins. We can still start with more than 10 wins. And I'm just going to do the same thing we did last time because it was really effective. Put the flying units in one place and the non-flying units in another to try to thin out the enemies. There is another safe place that we could wait here while the Carnosaur bashes the door in. This Carnosaur is like absolutely MVP. What an extremely good unit to get for basically free so early in the campaign. Yep, everybody just get over in the corner. Okay, so initial orders. I do kind of wish you could issue people their initial orders during setup, because it's almost never unclear what you want units to do. So we're going to have to grab all these guys and give them an order to get a little closer to the wall. Okay. That's happening. We did get them to spread a bunch of their melee troops over to this side, which I think works out pretty well for us. And then we just fly in this direction. That's a pretty spread formation. Can we do a little tighter than... No, apparently not. Okay, well... Here, we'll issue specific attack orders instead. That'll get people to fly a little tighter. So, Fire Leech Bolas. We want to make sure that we go behind the wall before attacking, actually, because otherwise our units may stop in a place where they can be shot by archers, which I'm not a huge fan of. And remember, as soon as we get in range, they'll start attacking. So I'm not actually, I'm not adding time for the enemy to go unharassed here. And you just get kind of over here. Do we want to start picking at the enemy characters immediately, or do we want to have the hero attack the bowman as well? I think we could probably just start in on their characters immediately. Let's get this guy. Wow, that paladin's name is actually Legarian. That's kind of incredible. Alright. Orders are set. We're going to take a little bit of fire here, but I think it's worth drawing this many units away from the battle. And it's going to take them long enough to reposition that I think we probably have really gained something there. The Carnosaur just cannot be stopped, man. He does not fear anything. Alright, that's a pretty good start. Let's get the hero, or the priest, and our lord to do their rock drops real quick. While the rest of the units just do the things that they're good at. Yeah, see, we're in a place here where, even a single rock is so devastating to enemy... Oh, hold on. I do not want you to descend and actually get into melee. But even a single rock is so devastating to enemy morale. Our lord is under attack. Oh no, a single arrow was fired at him. I love that we have 2 rocks on Tiktaq'to as well now. Who else needs a rock? Actually, I guess it's still these guys. Okay. I'm worried that these skink skirmishers are maybe taking damage from all of the fire coming off the wall, so let's draw them back a little bit. And we've permanently broken 1 unit of archers. Yeah, this is pretty good. Hey, look at all those extremely tightly grouped enemy units. I have just the thing for them. Who has rocks left? You have rocks left. This feels a little unsporting, if I'm being honest. The gate just broke. So let's have the salamanders. This is a little tricky because they still have control of this tower due to having guys on the wall there. So we're going to take damage as we cross its line of control, but we've freed up this tower at least. Let's just get everybody over here. We'll figure out the rest of the plan later. Alright, no, we got everybody. Okay, who has rocks left? Need more rock drops. Wow, so many of their units are already broken. Alright, we gotta remember there's fresh guys running in from the other side of the battle. Let's go drop rocks on them. Look at how nicely they've lined up. You guys could probably focus on somebody else for a minute. Yeah, there it is. Okay, is that all of them? I do believe... Ah! Priest. The priest still has a rock to drop. Here, we can get these spears. Okay. Back to work. And he's doing some fine work on that enemy paladin. He's getting really good at his job. Alright, Carnosaur through. All the rest of the troops follow him in. I don't really have a strong plan here. Just kind of like get on the other side of the gate and we'll figure it out once you're over there. We definitely have to worry about the horses. I think I'm going to have the Carnosaur just charge directly at them. And who... Okay, some of the Fire Leech Bola guys are still over here. Let's have them start in on these horses. As soon as those knights are committed, Tiktaq'to is going to duel their lord, I think. And once that starts, we can get some poison going in that direction as well. You are a unit of Fire Leech Bolas. You just need to shoot at somebody who could... Yeah, these guys, who are tightly packed and could do with a couple of explosions. Yeah, I love being able to send our Air Force in and just have it wreak all kinds of bloody havoc. Yeah, the Carnosaur is actually knocking horses to the ground. It takes an impressive charge to do that. They're actually doing some meaningful damage to him, though. They committed. Let's get in here. We got to watch him pretty carefully. So, Whison's Wild Form on the Carnosaur. Let's make sure it feels tough. Actually, wow. It's taking a little bit of damage, but it is murdering those horses. And we do have a unit of Fire Leech Bolas shooting at him as well. Yep, and now the Lord is trapped between the Carnosaur and Tiktaq'to. You can see the animations sometimes get a little like that when the battle gets particularly dense. This is not ideal. They had enough units left to... Never mind, Carnosaur's got it under control. I was going to say, it's not ideal that they had enough units. Let's turn off Fire at Will for the Salamanders, because we're in a little bit too close for that to be safe. This unit of Salamanders is having some kind of problem. Hey, you guys, just hang out. Just don't stress about it. Okay, Tiktaq'to, turn around, come over here and help out. Carnosaur is just doing that thing that he does, where he kills absolutely everybody. There's probably some friendly fire from the leaping. Skinks are pretty small and easy to step on. I would say it is their main downside. Keep wild forming people. And over here we have some dudes who, it looks like, would appreciate an Amber Spear. Oh, he hit... Alright. Get over here so that doesn't happen again. That's an embarrassing waste of our wins. Okay, their lord started to rejoin the battle and he was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? Actually, it says he's permanently broken. Okay, he was still riding forward for a while there. Alright, definitely a decisive victory. 155 lost. The Carnosaur took more damage there than we usually do. A lot of those, like I said before, a lot of those cavalry units are good against large, because lances are good against large units, but the Carnosaur just does so much damage he can race them out. And he is specifically an anti-large unit himself. The fact that they had so many infantry, like I was joking about how like this is a terrible comp for them, both because these are not their good units and because tightly packed infantry units are vulnerable to rock. But the fact that they had so many melee units grouped up around the gate meant even with all of our rocks, we couldn't actually clear the area enough for our troops to get through and set up on the other side. So it did kind of work out for them. Like, we didn't get to put the Salamanders to use at all. Let us integrate this into our nation, and we've leveled up enough to unlock a Regiment of Renown of Pterodon Riders. Let's see how those guys differ from our normal ones. Also, do we want to take Skink Commander now so that we can get a Skink hero to press the Lord Croak quest forward? Probably. Yeah, I think it's a reasonable thing to do here. I would probably have held off on that, if not for the fact that we need to go to a distant place. So, these guys, compared to a unit of normal Pterodon riders, stats aren't super different. Higher missile damage is nice. Well, they have dodge. Where's the thing for dodge? Maybe there isn't a little ability description for dodge. They have 30% physical resistance. Is that... I know we have some. Okay, yeah, they have significantly more physical resistance. This highly dexterous unit dodges blades and missiles with ease. I wonder if this is like the flavor description for them having an additional 20% physical resist. They have good missile resistance too, so they're really tough. They're slightly higher missile damage than normal. Of course, our upkeep cost reduction would make them very, very cheap to run in this army, but we're way more likely to recruit them in the other one, actually. Alright, let's sail around the horn here and see who we can see. We're gonna start encountering the Norskins up here any minute now, probably. And in the land of the dervishes, oh, we have enough population to upgrade the main settlement structure. We probably ought to do that. I don't know what exactly my plan was with all this money. Also, did we finish our... We did not finish our geomantic pylon yet. But the one in the Black Tower should be done, right? So... yeah, you can see this one is pulsing. A pulsing ring indicates that the settlement is not operating at its maximum potential strength, because it needs to be connected to a settlement that has that strength as well. So when we finish the pylon in Tlaq'to, they'll both upgrade to tier 3. Which is fine. I don't know that we need it exactly. Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine that it's not right to do this. And then these guys don't have any move. I guess there's no reason for us to recruit the Pterodon riders right now, because we could do it at any time in our own territory, so let's not pay their upkeep for any extra turns. But yeah, Thigan's Errantry is now thoroughly screwed. They're probably going to just ride to Zandri and reinforce it, and we will head over there and defeat them with the Southern Army, while Tiktaq'to pushes down here and ends this nonsense. Unfortunately, they have 2 walled settlements, so it's going to be a couple of big battles. I mean, I say unfortunately in the sense that, like, it's going to require some effort. It's probably good for entertainment purposes. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching the siege battles, because let me tell you something. Spoilers for the rest of the campaign. There's going to be quite a few of them. So I don't know exactly where on the map all of the major factions spawn, but I do know that the last Defenders, which is the other major Lizardman faction that is still alive, is all the way in the southeast corner of the map. They're like behind those mountains. They're basically where we have to move a character for our quest line here. If we confederate them into our forces, which I think is a thing we can do. I know not all factions... I think not all factions have access to Confederation, but I believe Lizardmen do. If we confederate them into our forces, we'll get control of all of their stuff, including the legendary lord that they start with. And it would be cool to have another one. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and I'm sure the Slan and the Saurus Oldbloods that we're able to recruit will be a fine substitute. But it would be neat to get another legendary lord. I don't know where the other new faction that was introduced in the expansion starts, actually. Nor do I know what their banner looks like, so I'm not sure if they're still alive. Tilia has declared war on all of the orcs. Uh-oh. I suspect that that bodes pretty poorly for Tilia. If we want them to survive, we might have to get up there and help them pretty soon. I don't remember exactly where all these orc nations are. I know the Black Venom start in the mountains just east of those Tilian cities that we saw, I'm pretty sure. The main Greenskins faction is, like, over here somewhere. I do not know where the Skull Takers are, but that's going to put Tilia in real danger. What is this? Oh, it's a declaration of war breaking the non-aggression pact. Well, you just can't trust Bretonnians. I don't think that's a big deal. It does mean that probably the Knights of the Flame are not going to get killed right away, because we probably have to fall back and take Fyrus now. I was hoping to be able to wait on that. But yeah, like, it would not be a good idea to let a force generate armies of this size right on our border to attack us with. The Sentinels have performed the Great Incantation of Xar. Sandstorms have engulfed their territory. Okay, that does not affect us at all. Yarrik's army has undertaken a rigorous new training regime, plus 15 melee attack for 4 turns. That's a pretty good buff. And our spellcaster is leveling up. Well, let's finish capping out the Amber Spear. This will lower the cost and the miscast chance and the cooldown for it. We will find a good use for this. I totally will. It's gonna happen. I don't really want to have to go back. That's very inconvenient. Maybe we could try to let this be a thing that Yarrik handles. Right, he's going to get up here and deal with Zandri. It would be a real shame if Alhaik were to fall before we were able to get this under control. It wouldn't be the end of the world, though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna continue with the plan with Tiktaq'to. You know how lizardmen feel about the plan. So we're just gonna do that thing that we like to do. You know, it keeps working. Also, I forgot to actually recruit the skink chief to have him go and head to the Golden Tower. Okay, we've met the nation of Marienburg. So there is there's a city. I don't remember exactly where it is. It's somewhere along this coastline called Marienburg, and the port at Marienburg is incredibly valuable. So the Marienburg faction sometimes gets wiped out immediately by Bretonnia or the Empire trying to take over that extremely valuable port. But it looks like they've managed to survive this time. Can we see... Here we go. They are currently at war with Nordland and some orcs. So it probably won't make anybody terribly mad if we make friends with them, but also they don't have control of their port, so why would I bother?
The Celestial College implores that I hear you.
Oh, he would love a non-aggression pact, in fact. We do this.
Very well.
Alright, that's going to get us in good with the Empire, which hopefully is not going to screw us too badly. It can be dangerous to ally with people who are not good friends with your other allies. Sometimes you can break down your diplomatic relationships pretty badly by picking the wrong friends. Okay, so some High Elves. All the High Elves that can trade with us are trading with us.
Yes?
Estalia might be convinced now. We're getting pretty positive with them.
Not likely.
Nope, they're still not into it. Don't know why. It's just mutually beneficial.
Deliver your message.
On it.
Okay, if Tilia survives, we may be able to talk them into a trade partnership. If we want them to survive, we probably better go up there and do something about it. And we know all these Bretonnians. They were all a little... Yeah, they're all a little stingy about who they'll trade with. But we gotta keep trying periodically. Unfortunately, like, this tedious process is a good idea, but I wish the AI would come to you with offers more often so that you would know that you don't, like... If they're not coming to you with the offer, you know that you don't need to check in with them. -6, we might be able to get a non-aggression pact. They are at war with some vampires, and they're friendly-ish with all of the other Bretonnians. Alright. That's enough of that for right now. Let's jump back down to our stuff. Alright, we have 1,900 gold to work with, which is not a tremendous amount. Oh, right, we gotta fix Que-Caudill. We are 13 turns away from being able to cap out the main settlement building in Tlaq'to, and I would really love to get that done. But I want the building slots back. Yeah, you can see why I was worried about putting together the second army. This is only like a little bit more than a half stack, and it's already completely broken our economy down. It's going to take a little while before we're ready to even consider a third army. Fortunately, the second army is the biggest gain in power. Now that we have the ability to project force in 2 different places, we can attack much more freely while leaving an army back for defense, or we can make much more sophisticated attacks, like pincer movements and stuff. The second army is a really big deal. The third one is usually somewhat less necessary. So I know there are a couple of Lizardmen factions that are still alive that we see later in the carousel here, but I'm pretty sure all of the ones that we see I'm familiar with as minor factions over in the jungle. So probably the other new Lizardman Lord who was added in the expansion is also already dead. Let's see. I know Itza, I know the Sentinels, Tiktaq'to. That might be one I'm not familiar with. Maybe he's still out there somewhere. His starting point is dead in the center of that jungle, so it is entirely possible that his faction got devoured early, because that jungle is a bloodbath. Marienburg is at war with Nordland. Nordland is like right here, so they are actually like in real danger. If they don't hold their port anymore, the city of Gorsel here is probably the only settlement they own, so they have to be pretty careful with it. That said, if they get eliminated, that has like no effect at all on us. We're perfectly fine with it. I didn't hire that skink hero again. Well, we did spend all of our money on necessary settlement upgrades, though. Yeah, we probably should have hired the skink instead. Well, we'll get some gold from a battle this turn. We will definitely be able to do it. Oh, now the Knights of the Flame want peace, huh? Would I take 1,500 gold to delay their slaughter? Don't really want to, no. I think we're gonna just keep at it. We'll make more than 1,500 gold from the battle we're about to do this turn. So yep, Baron Thagan is just gonna finish the trip to Zandri, where he will wait patiently for us to slaughter him. Given what's happening with these guys, I wonder if we can get them to pay us for peace.
Yet you would try with words?
They have 3,000 gold. Out of curiosity, would you give me 3,000 gold for peace? Interesting. So a peace treaty does not bind us to not attacking them or anything. We can redeclare war at any time. But what I'm thinking is, with our half stack here, this is not a super high priority, and we probably would want to recruit a couple more units before we go after them, and we know that they can't rebuild or advance in any way without lowering the garrison size of this city, so we'll just keep an eye on this. If they ever tear down the garrison building, we will immediately attack, but I can use our second army for warding off the Knights of Origo while we continue to push south instead, and also make some money from solidifying our position. That seems wise to me. We'll finish off Baron Thagan. His treachery will not be forgotten, but he is not a right now kind of problem. Okay. Over here, we have some murders to do. Lashiek has 12 units. So is this going to be a very similar fight? It is, in fact, going to be a very similar fight. Notice they're going heavy on the pole arms. Probably they know about the dinosaurs. So Knights of the Realm, which are anti-large. Yeah, it's a very similar fight. Unfortunately, we are going to have to fight all of these very similar fights because, like I said before, if we auto-resolve this, I'm not sure that we would even win the battle, and if we did win the battle, it would, like, brutalize our forces. The auto-resolver gives walls an awful lot of credit. It would be nice if we could get through both of these sieges against the Knights of Origo this turn, or this video. Obviously, we can't do it this turn. But I would like to be done with this chapter of our story before we move on to the next one. I don't know how feasible that's going to be, given that we're 50 minutes into the episode. We definitely would have to, like... Yeah, we probably have more than one turn of movement before here and the other settlement, too. I guess probably we're not going to get it all done this video. This is a pretty low starting Winds of Magic value, but I don't really want to gamble any of our reserve, because we're not going to cast any spells early on anyway. By the way, if you know of a way to like, save battle loadouts or anything, to save formations, do let me know about that in the comments, because I think we're going to be using this formation a bunch in the near future, while our army still looks like this. It would be just, like, super cool if we could not have to manually reposition all the troops every time. Oh, sorry, not you. You get over here, you get over here. Alright. Given the amount of ranged fire and stuff we've asked this Carnosaur to absorb, I'm kind of surprised he still listens to orders. If I were the Carnosaur, I would be considering another line of work right now. I mean, whatever, he's fine. So did they do... yeah, they did approximately the same thing. Alright, well, we beat it last time, let's beat it this time. Units of Fire Leech Bolas, focusing on the archers. Skink Hero, focusing on the Paladin. This one with a little bit less goofy of a name. And the normal Pterodon Riders can help, I guess. So they have just about the same number of forces this time, but they're heavier on the polearms, which is actually going to be better against us. It's possible we'll take more damage here, and we're going to have to, like, watch the Carnosaur a little bit more carefully. I don't want him to get completely surrounded by polearms, especially since there's no way for us to force him to disengage if he does get completely surrounded. Alright. That feels like an okay start. I guess you can just get on that. Let's have... here we go. The units who don't have anything else to do. Let's have them drop rocks while everybody else actually fights. We'll grab these guys as they're running across. Not sure exactly what they're doing. Hey, buddy, this way. I dropped that a little bit late. Like, even just the dinosaurs flying around are really panicking them. So yeah, we can make ourselves safe from the towers, but it's very difficult to make yourself safe from actual ranged units who can just move over when you step out of their cone of fire. Get to the part that hasn't been totally wrecked. There we go. Ooh, and then through here. Alright, well, we've cleared out a number of the troops in front of the wall pretty quickly. Aim that way a little bit. God, that is just beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Do we want to drop rocks over here? Those guys are pretty tightly grouped. Ah, you know what? We have a pretty dense area. Oh, these guys don't even have rocks. You. Okay, these guys are over here. Pretty easy to get some rocks down on the pole arms right in front of the gate, which I think are the next priority. You guys are chasing those archers all the way out into the middle of nowhere. This army has a lot of, demands a lot of micro right at the very beginning of the battle. I guess we don't really need to kill... The swordsman will die on their own. I'm not afraid of them. Let's try to focus our rocks on these tightly grouped units and polearms. Okay, is that all of the rocks? This guy still has one. He is definitely getting better at killing characters. Alright, so the Carnosaur is facing down only a single unit of spears that actually feels like fighting. Now, I'm not going to commit him just yet because I don't want him to get blown up. We're still shooting an awful lot of explosive projectiles here. We still don't quite have control of this part of the wall, which is annoying. Maybe we could send Tiktaq'to down here. These guys are just spears, they're not polearms, so they're not quite as powerful. All the Fire Leech Bolas are pretty committed. Let's have somebody take these guys out, though. Once we get rid of these guys, they'll lose control of that tower. They still do have... Oh, they still do have a unit of archers who feels like they can be part of the battle. Let's solve that problem. I do kind of wish that our unit would aim for the middle of the enemy formation, where the explosives could do the most damage. And I'm kind of surprised this paladin is cool with just standing here while we shoot. Do you maybe want to move or something? No, I'm just going to hold my shield over my head. It hasn't been working so far, but the lady will protect me, or something. Yeah, the AI just, like, fundamentally does not know how to deal with flying units. Okay, the tower should uncap in a moment then. The thing is, like, they're still doing... Here, back up a little bit. Still doing a pretty good job of keeping a lot of dudes right in front of the gate, which is really annoying. Okay, let's start throwing some amber spears out. I know they've been targeted by something. Okay, that did some damage. Yeah, let's set up our ranged units in front of the gate here, see if we can't just fire through. We have a lot of enemies to deal with in the near future. I'd love to do this without taking huge amounts of damage. Seems like most of my ranged units are getting pretty low on ammo. You guys could turn around and soften up some of these polearm crews. Actually, that one works. Yeah, the Blessed ones have quite a bit more ammo than the normal ones. If we can just get all of the polearms away from the front, then from there we can... Did you kill that paladin? I think you might have killed the paladin. Then we can run the dinosaurs through totally safely, because they'll mulch those sword guys. There really are a lot of polearms. And tell them to move through here rather than to chase a specific unit so that they don't end up running off into the distance. Once the red-crested skinks are through, we'll send the Carnosaur in behind them. I still don't really want to send Tiktaq'to to the ground, and there's not like a compelling reason to have him drop yet. Throw another amber spear down here at these dudes. There's so few of them. I'm not sure if this is like... Wow. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, I'm not sure if this is like even a good spell to use on small groups of infantry. But, yeah, it's fine. Seems to be okay. Let's get Tiktaq'to behind these dudes, and as soon as we are engaged, we can drop on their lord. Just want to make sure that he's not the first person to get down there. Okay. That'll do from there. Yeah, and what little force they're able to gather is starting to press forward. Salamanders, it looks like, are totally cool to just run in here and set up. Oh, that's... Okay, those positions are extremely far away from where I'm clicking. Maybe just go to here. Carnosaurian, we're like almost out of ammunition. You focus on him. Where's this guy? Is there another unit of... Yes, there is another unit of pole arms you could spend the rest of your ammo on. Their lord is almost dead, which is really good for us. Yep, there's the Carnosaur doing his thing. I guess let's keep throwing spears at people. Wait. Lie over here and then throw the spear. Apparently we have to be wary of cover. Okay, now that he's clear of the building, we can do this. That was really good timing, right as all those units merged together. Actually, I was gonna have the skinks run forward and fight these guys, but this can be a thing for the salamanders. You know, I didn't really want you guys to go into melee. Yeah, there you go. Maybe salamanders have very poor eyesight. They have to get that close to the enemy to feel like they can actually hit them. Somehow their lord is still alive. What is up with that? Tiktaq'to, you had orders. Get down there. Don't rely on the red-crested skinks to do all the work for you. You should be ashamed of yourself. They're trying so desperately to get pole arms on the Carnosaur. It's like none of them can get through. They know what they need to do. It's just that all of the fire. There's so much fire. Yeah, geez, we're really racking up levels on these flyers. Look at that, 300 kills. Like both of the blessed spawning guys are already rank 6. They're outstripping the normal Pterodon riders. We do rely very heavily on our flying units. These red-crested skinks are doing okay on XP too, though. You sometimes have a problem in units where you have a lot, or in armies where you have a lot of good ranged units, with your melee units being underdeveloped, so that when the time comes, they're not ready for combat. Like when you face an enemy that is tough enough that actually survives the ranged attacks, and then they meet your melee line, they just get shredded. We're not having that problem because we have so few melee that when that time comes at the end of every battle where there is a little bit of melee combat, each one of our dudes is up against like 5 enemies still. They're getting plenty of kills. Alright, so now that we no longer have an army in the coast of Araby, how are we doing on public order? We're actually still managing to hold positive. Oh, because one of the settlements had a public order building in it when we took it over. Okay, well that's awfully nice. See, like, while we're sitting in Lashiek, things will be fine, but as soon as we leave Lashiek, things are going to get a little rougher. They have pottery. Okay, I think I'll probably just leave that in place. So do we want to get this buff for Tiktaq'to, or do we want to start in on the red line stuff? I think I want to start in on buffing his units. I know we've done an awful lot of other things in the interim, but we're starting to see units climb toward the rank 7 that they need to benefit from these late redline buffs, and so I'd like to get in that direction. This first point doesn't do very much. We are not really having any leadership problems. So we have all of our replenished troops. We're probably not going to be in friendly territory that much, so boosting income isn't a real concern. We're getting close to Stegodon levels. So I guess let's take some more... He has been running out of ammo a little bit. I guess we'll get some ammo buffs. We'll take some more combat-oriented stuff on him again. And then Uldo Morin. What do we want to do with him? I guess we could sail up along the coast. There's a couple more nations of men with ports up here. And then way over here, we might be able to link up with Kislev. Kislev potentially is powerful and rich. Although some games they get slowly worn down by their large number of hostile neighbors. Okay, so we are now Geomantic Web level 3 in these two settlements. That's cool, I guess. It has slightly empowered our commandments. So let's have a look at the actual difference. If our web strength was 1 here, it would be 1 public order, 10 growth, 2% income. And then we just see the numbers increment by that every level. So I think we want to stay on the growth. We want to stay on this commandment right now for the growth, because we do want to get this settlement growth capped when we get to the highest level. We could upgrade this, and it's not even that expensive. But upgrading this settlement to a geomantic spire doesn't help us until we can also do the same in the Black Tower of Archon. So I guess we ought to maybe save up population there. So definitely get the gold smelter upgraded. This gives actually quite a lot of buffs. Apparently Kroxigor's Temple Guards and Cold Ones are way into gold. And do we want to do any other changes around here? I'm not sure Bel Aliad actually needs proper walls anymore. We'll leave this structure in place, but I think we might be... It might be far enough back now that it's not in a lot of danger. So what else do we need to do? We still need to build a Shrine of the Old Ones and a geomantic or a scrying pool. Shrine of the Old Ones will have to go in Tiktaq'to. My plan was to demolish a growth building because I thought we'd be closer to being done with growth here. And then the scrying pool can just go in any level 3 settlement. Can we put it here? Could if we had a little bit more money. Well, I guess I'm not in a big hurry on this because we don't need it until we can reasonably get a Shrine of the Old Ones up anyway. So what about this stuff in this settlement? Kofir. You know what, let's upgrade Kofir and get some walls around it. With it being on the coast, it's going to be important for it to be well defended, because you can never tell who might show up and try to take it from us. But I think I'll leave the public order building in place for now. We'll just build the walls here. Alright, let's run one more cycle of enemy turns. Unfortunately, punishing the Knights of the Flame is something that is going to have to last into the next episode. This is a pretty large area that we started in. It takes a while to get from place to place. And it's going to be like a couple more turns before we could even potentially see our Slan in action too, which is annoying. But once we're no longer having to sprint everywhere at full speed, I would really love to get some Ripperdactyls and just some high-tier units in general so we can feel out our roster a little bit. We've been doing an awful lot of work with pretty much just skinks. And that's, you know, it's working. Can't complain about the efficacy. But we have so many other cooler units available. Also, I have no idea how we're doing on our actual victory objectives. I think we need to either we need to either control or be allied with the controllers of pretty much all of the southern desert. So probably these areas that we're taking over right now are part of that. We are probably making actual victory progress. Mostly I'm concerned about immediate securing of our borders, but we're probably actually working toward victory as well. Should be the sort of thing you're doing on purpose, rather than by accident, but to be perfectly honest with you, I forgot what the objectives were for most of the last several episodes. I do have a tendency to get the tunnel vision. So once we calm down this stuff over here, I know we have to take Skavenblight, we have to take Sartosa, the little island in the middle of the ocean here. We have to claim the rest of this stuff, or we have to get friendly with the people who are holding it. I would rather hold it myself, I think. Especially the big cities like Khemri. It is usually the case, for most factions, your capital has a 10-slot settlement as the major settlement in it, but we got shortchanged a little bit there. So taking over a city like Khemri that actually does have 10 slots, or the Black Pyramid, which has 10 or 12, I think, giving us a lot of room to build our tech buildings, will be really nice for us. Oh no, the populace in one of your settlements is gradually vanishing. On certain nights, whole ghettos or districts are left abandoned. The only clue for the remaining denizens is a triangular symbol daubed on a nearby gate or wall. Turns out you can never really be rid of the Skaven. That's in Lashiek? Okay, that's not such a big deal. That could be worse. Why did the Knights of Arrigo even declare war on me? Break a non-aggression pact to declare war on me. If they weren't actually going to get out here and fight, like they just, they sort of shredded their diplomatic standing in the eyes of the world, and then they're going to keep sitting in their castle doing nothing, seems like kind of a strange play. Anyway, that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time when we probably spend an entire, another entire episode, words is hard, stomping out the Bretonnian menace. And we'll see you then.